And it begins. Dan the man is starting to survey the yard bright and early on a Tuesday morning. Morning, everyone. My name's Bill. It's Pirate Solutions Forestry, and that is Danny that you can't see. I tried to get you a camera angle so he'd be in the periphery over there, but it's just too odd an angle. So you're just going to have to believe me. He's sitting right there, or laying right there. What we got going on today is we're going to continue cutting beams for our post and beam order. I did pull down a bunch of logs out of my old pile that we're going to try to salvage through. Now, the great thing about salvaging through the old logs is that if they don't work, if there's too much damage inside the log or something like that, I'll turn them into ground bunks for here or lumber bunks or whatever. So we will use them, but I have to start servicing through those old logs. I did rip the pile apart yesterday. I got wood all over the place out there. I got wood all over the place down here. And we did get a little bit of an emergency order that we have to take care of. Lawrence Lynchs, who, if you remember, cut like 3 trailer decks for them in the last, I don't know, 4 months or so. They're putting one of the trailers together, and apparently, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but when we went and measured the trailer, we missed a back section of the folding ramps. So I think what had happened was the ramps were down, and what happens is there's a folding section that goes underneath, and I think it was on the ground. So when we measured it and laid it out and we cut all the wood for it, we missed an entire section of this folding ramp. It's a pretty good sized section. Well, they're putting it together. They're putting the wood in, and I had cut them extra, thank God. And they filled up that section and ended up a couple of boards short. Not so much short because the entire trailer is technically full. Just a few holes. But one thing that ended up happening is we had an odd dimension in the front side of the trailer where it was 26 3/4 on one section, and I cut them 2/8 and a 10 and figured, well, they'd put quarter gaps. And now that the wood is sat around down there for, I don't know, we probably cut it 4 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. All the board shrunk about a quarter. So they ended up with a decent sized gap in that section. What they've asked me to do is they've asked me to cut them a filler board, full length for that section, one for each side. And then they're going to take out one of the 8-inch wide boards, and they're going to cut it up to fill the one of the 8-inch wide boards on each side. And they're like 13.3 long. And they're going to use those 2 boards to fill in all the other little holes that they have on the trailer in the backside, because they used up so much of their wood filling up the part of the trailer that we missed completely. So we are going to cut that this morning after we cut the log that's up on the mill. And I'll give you a little walk around here and show you kind of what's going on and what we're getting into. So thanks for coming along for the ride. So these are all the logs that we pulled down out of my oldest pile that I think can make beams. Now, I misjudged that one that's on the top right there. That one's not going to make a beam. It's got like this weird little crook in it right there that is going to preclude that from making an 8x8. And when I get to that, I'll throw it in the back and just keep working through these to see what we can make out of them. This is a mix of white pine and pitch pine. And there are some, and these are pretty long poles. These are somewhere out around, say this one's like 16, That one's probably a 14. And a pretty good mix. There's like a 20 back there. Pretty good mix, but we're going to see what we can salvage out of this for the post and beam. And like I said, the rest of it we will use. Now that is the oak log that I pulled down to cut the two 2x9s that we need for Lawrence Lynch at 13.3 long. We'll end up cutting them at 13.6. That log is a little over, it's probably closer to 15 feet long. So we're going to be cutting off the small end here because it's tight on our dimension down there. I think it's going to cut off about right there. And we should have no problem getting two 2x9s out of that. Here is our specimen on the sawmill that we're going to cut into an 8x8 to add to the 8x8s over here. That's going to end up being a 12-foot one for the front of the post and beam. And we have a 14-foot top plate there, and we've got two shorter ones here that you saw in video yesterday for the 8-foots that are going in the back for the posts. And obviously we are starting to accrue a pile of boards and flitches that need to be edged. You have a 2-inch chunk there that will turn into a 2x. And we'll be edging through those maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow, before I get this is going to kind of get a little out of hand today. And we will stack the ones that come off as boards on here for now. And we will edge through the rest of that tomorrow. I also am going to service this mill this morning. I'm going to hit all the grease zerks, fuel it up, lube everything with ATF before I get started here, and we'll get to cutting. Well, we get everything serviced up, and I dumped all the fuel that I had into the hydraulic engine and into the sawmill. Hopefully we have enough fuel for the day. I'm still waiting on my truck, and I'd rather not go for fuel in my friend's Volvo. I can always put a tote in the back. They're sealed cans and stuff like that, but I'd rather not do that. So let's hope that my truck gets done today and I don't run out of fuel. But what I'm going to do, just to let you guys know, is I'm going to hyperlapse you through this log, and then we're going to video cutting the 2x9s out of the oak log. So I'm going to put you guys on hyperlapse and wipe this thing out and get it off the mill. Oh, two more quick things. Number one, if you didn't watch my video from Paul Bunyan, came out this morning, let me know what you think about how it came out. I kind of liked it. It was a challenge to edit it, but I like how I put the clips kind of in where I was talking. And number two, you're not missing anything on this log. If you watch yesterday's video, I'm just center milling this log just like I did the logs yesterday. There is a little bit of a weird crook in the side over here, so I'm going to cheat towards this outside, and pretty straightforward. It should go pretty fast, but I want to let you know you're not missing anything here. Cutting the oak log is going to take a little more thought. All right, so I'm going to give you this view so you can see what I'm doing. I'm working on the large end of the log. I did center the log as good as I can. That far end is pretty small. I do have a little bit of extra length down there, but there's not much taper, so it's not going to gain me anything. But I just want to take you through the process of what I'm trying to do when I do this. So let's fire up. If you keep your eyes open, you'll see Danny over there too. Now I've got lines on the log. I can slow my water feed down just a bit. I've got lines on the log of where to start. I only need 2 of them, 4.5 inches out of the center up, 4.5 inches out of the center wide. The log is pretty straight. There's no sweeps or anything in it. It doesn't look like there's any bonus material at all. I'm just going to have to cut it on the lines. And when we get to our 4th side, we'll set our scale at 6/4 and just mill through it. We only need 2 clean boards. That looks like it right there. I don't even need to know where it is. It's all we got. So far, so good. Pretty good opening face. I'm definitely going to be able to get 2 clean boards out of the middle of this log for sure. And we'll flip it. Do the same thing on the side, then put our toe boards down and we'll be in business. We'll make sure when we flip it that we're still centered. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but there is a, down that far end, there is a little crook in the log. It's going to be a little closer than I thought, but we'll still get 2 clean boards. That's all we need. It still looks really centered. I'm going to leave it right there, and let's just cut this line. That's right at 12, it looks like. There's nothing else there, guys. This is going to be closer than I thought. This is going to be closer than I thought. It's not going to hurt us getting a waste board on the bottom. We'll just look at the 2 clean ones out in the middle here. I think I'm safe to take a flitch right now. Oh, let me see how far to the pit. I take that back. So I'm going to be 1.5 inches plus 1.125 inches. No, I'm good. It's above the pit. I think I'm going to take a flitch off it. We'll spin it, set a width. Going to come right to 9. Set our width. We are going to get just enough here for those 2 clean boards. Well, it is what it is. I only got what I got. So let's spin it up and we will take it on scale all the way down. Our 2 clean boards are going to come right out of here, right down that stretch. Now, because my mill itself doesn't have a 6/4 scale on it, we have to put our magnetic scale on. I'll show you how to do that and set that up. Oh, guys, I did it again. I don't know how I keep doing this. I got to let the video run longer and I can just cut out the dead space. But I did a start and stop thing, and instead of starting, I stopped. And then when I stopped, I started, and blah, 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 blah. So you missed 1, 2, 3, 4. You missed me taking the top off this too, and the reasoning why. And you missed me setting up my scale, which I thought was important. We got our 2 clean boards here. We ended up with a board that we're going to keep on the top, or I may just give them this whole log and they can keep what's left over for other trailers. We cut the pith out in a 3 and a 7/8 board in the middle here, and that left us, because we scaled off the top, because I have Wayne on the bottom board, we scaled off the top where I thought it was going to clean up. We've got 1 3/4 down here on the bottom. What we're going to do with that board that you're not going to get to see is I'm going to flip that over and cut it 1.5 inches so I have another board. And let me show you what we ended up with for Wayne. God, I'm sorry, guys. I really am. I promise I'll shoot some bonus video or something like that. Let's take a look at this. Well, let's take a look at the log first, and then I'll show you how I set the scale. So you can see they did have a little tension sideways, how they stair-stepped over. That means that these are bowed just a teeny bit. This length, they'll have no problem getting them in the last hole that they have to get them in. And the middle two, if you'll notice, have no wane. We'll go to the other side, and I'll show you why I had to do it that way. You see the wane on the top and bottom here. So you can see the wane on the top and the wane on the bottom. I needed to split the goalpost there. So I took a measurement to where I thought I was going to clear that at 6 inches. And I made a mark on the end of the log and set my scale to that. Okay. So then when I dropped, then I came up on scale, I made my top cut. Then I dropped on scale. One's basically a board that I'm going to keep that I knew there was going to be wane on. And then I got the 2 clean ones that I need. And then I got wane on the bottom. And that board is not going to go to them. That board will end up staying here. So I probably will give them the top one and the next 2, and then I'll keep what's left over. So let me take you over and I'm going to show you how I set the scale. All right, so this is my magnetic scale right here. All right, and all you have to do with the magnetic scale is slide it up and down. And this has 1.5 inches, 6/4 on it, where my Norwood scale does not. And anyway, I don't have it on the adjustable side. This side's fixed, so the scale over here is off the bunks. You can make this one off the bunks, but what I chose to do was pick where I was going to clean up, which was 6 inches. So I'll set this at 6, right? So there's 6. And then what you do, the yellow line here is my 6/4 scale. Just slide it down until I use the top of the mark. I use the top of every mark as my benchmark. You just slide it down until you're on scale right there. Then I came up 6/4 to the next yellow mark, and that's where I made my top cut, which was basically just a jacket cut, taking the slab wood off. Then I dropped down on scale. That's 1 6/4 board. That's the one on the top that's still got Wayne on it. And then I hit 2 clean ones on 6/4 scale. The pith was below this. Then I cut the pith out with a 7/8 board, and I'm left over with an 1 3/4 chunk on the bottom that I will flip over, like I said, cut it at 1.5 inches, so I have an 1.5 inch board around here that I can use for myself. It doesn't do me any good at 1 3/4 with a shit pile of Wayne on it, so at least I can cut some Wayne off it. But that's how you set your scale off of a spot versus off the bunks. If I wanted to set it off the bunks, what I would do is I would go to a known 6/4 number, like if you just go to 1.5 inches. All right, so I know I want to end up at 1.5 inches, so my last board is 1.5 inches thick, 6/4. And then you would set your scale there. And then you would come all the way up to the top of the log and see on scale where it makes sense to take your top cut. Let's just say it was 8 inches right there. All right, so 8 inches is on 6/4 scale. You would take your top cut there and then just drop on your yellow lines all the way down. And when you get to the bottom, you'll end up with an 1.5 inch board. That's the difference between scaling off the top of the log, or a spot in the log in this case, and scaling off the bunk, so you end up with the board you want at the bottom. And here's a close-up of that scale. You can see the yellow scale is my 6/4 scale. It's got 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and 8/4. So crisis averted. We've got 2 clean boards for them to finish up their trailer. They've got days of screwing left. It's a really big lowboy equipment trailer with a huge folding rear ramp system. If you didn't watch my Paul Bunyan video, please do that. If you have any questions, please hit me up. The last couple of videos that we've done, just cutting these beams right here, I got 2 8-footers and a 12-footer now. Of course, they're all cut long, but for all intents and purposes. And I also have a 14-foot top plate over there. I have to cut 4 top plates. I need 2 more 12-footers and 1 more 8-footer for the base of the pole barn. So he has all of his posts, and then I need 3 more 14-footers. So he has all his top plates. And the 14-footers, we're going to be cutting a 4-pitch angle on one side of them for the rafters to sit on. So that's going to be a video in itself, and it should be a pretty cool process, how we get it set up to cut those on the sawmill rather than cutting them with my beam saw. What I've been doing the last couple days is sawing out of the center of the log. Because everything I've been cutting has been so close, most meat is in the center of the log, and a lot of these logs are really waste logs. Okay, now that last one, that oak, it wasn't the greatest because it did have some tension in it, but that was not a waste log. I could have gotten a 9x9 out of that, or an 8x8 out of that at full length. But this customer gives me tens of thousands of dollars in business, so I want to make sure I take care of them. And if I didn't want to cut that log, I had to cut a giant, and that was going to make a big mess to clean up, and I would have really had to think smart about how I cut my way through it to just end up with 2 1.5 by 9s. So that was really my only candidate small log that I could get over 13.3 out of, which is what they need for full length on these two boards, and get the size that I needed. So looks like I need some more oak. Now I know Ralph Alfieri was bringing me over some cherry, and he said there was some oak somewhere. I had to go take a look, and it looks like I'm going to have to do that, because if I got a trailer order right now, I would have to cut a monster. And that's not always bad on a trailer order because you knock out like 3/4 of the whole trailer deck on one log. It's just not fun to play with. I also did just get a mantle and 2 uprights out of white oak, and waiting on confirmation. This guy's a plumber, and I don't think that he realized that they weren't going to be dry. So I did just get a message in between the time that I showed you the scale and the time I sat down, said, hey, are these dried or are they wet? And I said, they are wet, they are not dry. So that order might crap itself, and I can push him over to Thatcher Smith at Plymouth Live Edge, and he can go get his white oak up there if Thatcher's got anything big enough for him, because they're good size. They're, I think, a 6x8 mantle and 6x6 vertical uprights under the mantle. I'm not sure what you call those other than posts. I'm sure there's a name for them in architecture, and I don't remember from when I was younger, where we had to draw very, very elaborate mantles. If you don't understand the center log setup versus just eyeballing it, watch my last couple videos on it. I explain it really, really well. I am going to get all of my slab wood put away, get my 2 good boards for them. Actually, I'm going to give them 3, the top 3. Get those 3 boards stuffed over here on a bunk for now, out of my way, so they can pick them up. They also need, I've got a 2x10 over here. They need a 10-inch wide by 24-inch long piece, so I got to get my circular saw out, and I'll cut one like 36 that's wane free. They got a small board in a small section of the trailer. It's got a bunch of wane on the bottom, so I'm going to replace that for them. Just happen to have a 2x10 sitting over here, or 6/4 by 10 sitting over here, that I would have used for this order if it was long enough, but it wasn't 13.3. It was only like 12.6. And that is the curse that goes along with just having stock lying around. A lot of times when a customer needs something, you got something that will kind of work, but not quite. And that stinks, and you got to go cut a whole log. So that's enough for now. Hope you guys watch my video from Bunyan that came out this morning. Let Danny and I know what you think. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that little notifications bell, especially if you're new, so you know when a video comes out from us. Typically, I don't do what I did today, and it stinks. I did one yesterday too, where that happened. I got to be more careful about that. Since I did that, I tried to at least explain what happened. All you ended up missing was a couple of cuts. If you need something from Norwood, go into the description of this video below, and there'll be my Norwood affiliate link, and you can copy and paste that to your browser. It takes you right to Norwood's website, their sell site, and you can see all the specials that they have going on and things like that. You can order right from there, and it kind of tells them that you watch my video, which helps me out in the long run. Make sure you leave a comments, and the thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. But the comments and the thumbs up help the algorithm push us up the list, so when somebody's watching sawmill videos, it suggests us. So I always appreciate it. Danny always appreciates it. And we're probably going to go in and have a sandwich for lunch, and then we'll come back out and we're going to queue up some more pine, cut some more beams, and posts. For now, Pirate Solutions out.